time to next announce the next awardee is Stuart Hodes.
Stuart and I go way back, don't we, Stuart? Dancers Over 40 is not an organization of just Broadway dancers, but in this case, this modern dancer decided when the rigors of Martha Graham were too much, he'd slum it out to Broadway. In such musicals as Paint Your Wagon and Kismet. And how many of you gypsies can say that you swam with Esther Williams in her review? Well, this next lady didn't swim with him, but did dance with him in Paint Your Wagon. Ladies and gentlemen, a 2009 Dancers Over 40 Legacy Award winner, I just adore her, Gemze de Lappe.
Thank you. I met Stuart in the wagon, although I knew all about him from Martha Graham's company. I'd seen a lot of performances, and I knew he was one of her excellent dancers. But what I found in Paint Your Wagon was that Stuart was the miner, coal miner, silver miner, gold miner, that I like to ad-lib with, because in all of those shows of that period, there was a lot of give and take between the performers of whatever department you were in. And Stuart was always in character, not always the same character every night, which was fun, but we always ad-libbed within the context of the play. And he was Jim Mitchell's understudy. So when somebody stepped on Jim's foot and broke a bone in it, Stuart and I got a chance to dance together for 2 weeks, wasn't it? 6 weeks. Well, you see, it did fly, because I really didn't think it was going on that long. It just seemed normal to do it. And he tells me that he missed a lift once, one that Larry and I have a picture of. He has a picture of us doing it. You kind of fly at your partner and put your foot on his hip and swing around, and you get the momentum going and everything works just fine. I'd forgotten this. He told me tonight and explained what had happened, and I might get him to elaborate. But then, was that the night that Martha came to the show? Or was that another night?
She came to the matinee.
The matinee.
That was the night.
After the matinee. Right. So, one of the reasons that this story is interesting, and I think it's important for dancers and all performers. Stuart was talking to Martha at dinner, or was it after the second show? Between shows. So, and he said something about the difference between being an artist and working on Broadway, and talked about ballet, and at that time, modern dancers didn't take ballet. And it was frowned upon, and a lot of little things like that went on between the disciplines. Unfortunately, I think that after that was broken, and the companies kept going back and forth to Broadway, which was the improvement that ballet theater, ABT in those days was ballet theater, many of those dancers worked on Broadway, so they became better actors and actresses, and the Broadway choreographers were able to use the best dancers around, because the shows really paid more, of course, than the ballet companies did, And also the ballet companies probably only had 25 weeks, or I think ballet theater had 40 weeks, and then they were out of work. So they were all happy to go into a Broadway show. So both disciplines benefited by this crossover, and I wish there was more of it now, especially in the core, which would help a lot of the passion and acting ability of Broadway dancers and ballet dancers. So I want Stuart to tell you exactly what Martha said to him, because I don't want to get it wrong. And I think it's a wonderful thing that she said. So I'll just turn this around so you can stand up and take it.
When I heard I was going on, I'd seen James Mitchell trip, and I didn't know it was a broken foot, but I got a call at 9 in the morning. Be at the theater at 11, you're going to work with Gemze. Oh, no, he said, do you know the part? And I said, well, that's what you pay me for. But I didn't think I did know it. So we worked together. I called Martha. She said, can you get me a house seat? She came. And I was really worried about that lift. I mean, Gemze, it's the hardest lift I've ever done, by the way, in my whole life. She launched herself like a torpedo, feet first, and came out this way. And the foot had to catch her hip. At the same instant, I caught this arm. And then you spun around twice and set her on her feet. Lovely lift. Huh? Well, I had to lift you, and then we ended face to face. Okay, so I was asked if I wanted to use James Mitchell's costume. It sounded ghoulish to me. I didn't, oh no, I'll wear my costume. We're both minors, right? So Martha came, and she sent back a note, which I so wish I'd kept the actual note, but of course I remembered. She said, you are playing the romantic lead in a Broadway musical. You cannot go on with baggy pants. Tonight, you will wear pants so tight, the last row of the second balcony will be able to count your buttocks.
Say what she said about being totally in with whatever skill, whatever.
This whole business of being a modern dancer in this world of brilliant people who intimidated the hell out of me because they were all so good. They could do everything. So of course I was taking ballet right from the start. Martha sent me to Muriel Stewart, and she said, how do you like your ballet classes? I said, well, they're fine, but I don't like ballet hands. And she said, well, what don't you like? I said, well, they do this. I bring my hands down like this. And she said, no, when you're in that class, you be the most classical dancer in the room. And she related that to whatever kind of dancing you do that dancing and that alone. And that made a lot of difference to me forever, you know, because I think the kind of dancing I wish I'd been a hoofer.
Thank you, guys.
Now, Stuart, you have said in the past that you have outlived a lot of your dancers, but we have reached out to a close relative to come. Oh, that's changed? Well, why didn't you tell me?
I mean, things change here last minute. Yes, they do. So when I approached Stuart about, you know, getting this award and everything, I said, well, I need names and phone numbers and things of people, you know, who want to find. He said, well, I can't. They're all dead and they're not around anymore. I'm the only one left. It was very difficult to find people for Stuart, and he's a really shy guy when it comes to some of these things. It was really tough to get people. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Stuart. When I started the panels and performances back in 2006, it was totally because these ladies had sent a note to me when they were renewing their membership, and they said, when's your next party? I want my girlfriends to come and meet in New York. We haven't been together since the war. So when I called this lady back from Connecticut, I said, oh, well, what war? I said, World War II. And I said, well, what shows were you in? She said, Pal Joey. I said, well, which one? She said, the original. And my girlfriend was in Something for the Boys in 1941. And I was like amazed. I said, well, could you talk to us at the party? And she said, no, I don't want to talk in front of people. So I said, well, what if we do like a panel? We ask you questions. She said, that'd be okay. So we had Ann Pym and K-pop Janice. And I said, we need two guys to balance it. So we had George Marcy, who's not with us today because he's in the hospital. George will be out tomorrow. I talked to him yesterday. And I called Stuart. So we had people that were from the 40s and 50s and they could talk together. Then we needed a moderator. We had this new member who I just met, and then he sort of liked talking a lot. So we had Harvey Evans be moderator. So Harvey was our first moderator. That was our first panel, and Stuart was on. So I'm waiting for Stuart. Where the hell is Stuart? We're starting the panel. He came with his bicycle. I had to call him on the phone. And he came with his bicycle today. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. So besides all that, he has a website, he has a blog, he has a thing about chorusgypsy.com, which I did wrong in the press release. I want to plug it here, where he's trying to get all you guys to talk about your lives on his site too, not just our site. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Stuart Hodes. Oh, picture.
Well, thank you very, very much. I always wondered, I still haven't really gotten the answer why I became a dancer. But I think the answer is that I like dancers. And that when I accidentally, in a sense, walked into the Graham studio, that just happened to be the studio I went into. Wish it had been Carlos. But I think I knew something in me, some antenna started vibrating. I love dancers. I don't know why I love them. I don't know why. How can you know that? I don't know why I love anything. But there are things you love. People, cats, I do. But, so I found myself in this environment with these people that I loved. And it started with Martha Graham, but then as soon as I finally needed to earn some money, and I found out you could get paid for dancing on Broadway, and I met Broadway dancers, and discovered I loved their dancing. Their dancing was also my dancing, but they were no different from the dancers that I knew who were art dancers. There was a little difference in that the art dancers wanted to change themselves and change art and change the world. The Broadway dancers wanted to build their careers, generally speaking. I don't think on Broadway they figured they weren't as deluded as the modern dancers. But they were dancers, and they were wonderful people. And so, besides thanking Dancers Over 40 for letting me spend some more time with you, I just want to thank the dancers, all of you.